This award, this is not for me. Organizers all over the country, the activists, the civil rights, the struggling parents, the families, the teachers, the students that are realizing that a system built to divide, impoverish, and destroy us cannot stand if we do it. All right? It's kind of basic mathematics.
If you hear me, could you feel me, could you free me? Wonder if I made a difference or made a difference. But that we are the difference. We ain't got no code to decipher. Brother, I would never call you trife. You my brother, though they knife and fork our meals, then cop the silly feels. Yep, it's slimy, kinda grimy, miscalculated the timing. But you can plagiarize something in disguise and think we have no eyes to see something real as we. This is seriously who we be. See, this here is true indeed, the real deal, thoroughbred, like collard greens and cornbread. Can't recite what's never said, purpose keeps us fed. Real man, this is grand A, hope fed. But still, you are my brother, above you there's no other. Blood or something other, more like what the blood covers. Man, no matter what they say, we good over this way. This is positivity in the making, helping brothers to break through. Without breaking, without breaking, without breaking, without breaking. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It's Thursday, so you know what that means.
Brother Empowerment Day.
Right, and if this is your first time watching, Brother Empowerment is not one of those bashing shows, but this is an opportunity to uplift our brothers by having positive conversations. We helping brothers to break through without breaking, but it's also for our brothers, but also the families, the people that they're connected to, their villages and their community. So we are so excited if it's your first time with us tonight. But before we start talking about our special guest, bro, how was your weekend? Your week? I'm ready for the weekend already.
So the week has been very, very good, man. But it's also been very, very heavy from a standpoint of, man, I've been tearing my journal up, man. I know I've said that the past couple weeks in a row, but I really have been tearing my journal up, man. I've just been really just all the thoughts that come into my head, no matter what they are, I've just been writing them in there, and I've really been, finishing a lot of unfinished projects in my life. We've had several conversations about that, and that's really been a focus of mine over the really past couple of days, is finishing those projects that I just picked up and put down, or really just didn't start at all in my life. So the week it's been good, but it has been heavy for sure. What about you, bro?
Man, I want to say, I feel like it's been that same place, man. I just been feeling for the last, how long has it been, man? It's really been since June, but it seemed like it accelerated around October, maybe September, that we've been in like this weird accelerated pace where like everything is picking up, everything is an emergency. There's so many great things that are happening. Everything is like impending. And like we're just waiting for it to be like official on so many levels because we all can breathe. But I am excited every day. I realize that doing purpose, there's no like true comparison to it, and everything else is so unfulfilling. It's almost like the same places you go to eat. You used to love those places, but then when you go there after I can give a good example. I remember Red Lobster used to be like an upscale restaurant, but then when you have authentic food and you go back, you're like, I used to like this. It's kind of like that feeling now. And so I find myself, I can't do the things that I used to do or enjoy the things that used to give me comfort because I'm really just focused on purpose. So that's been my week, man. It's really just been reflecting and thinking on how can I be a better father? How can I be a better friend? How can I be a better brother? Just how can I be better and how can I continue to cultivate the gift, that we've been given.
Okay. Word, man. Yeah.
We got a special guest.
We do indeed.
Okay. We got a special guest, y'all. If you guys are watching, go ahead and leave a comment to let us know that you guys are on, so we can definitely see that. But special guest, tell the wonderful people who you are. And if you do a horrible job, I'm gonna redo your intro.
I appreciate that, Jay. Listen, I'm over there on the same energy you guys are on. Cordell, look, I got my journal too. My favorite book says, write that vision and make it plain so you can run with it. Yes. And that's what I like to do. But hello, good evening. I am Turqueya. I'd like to say I'm an empowerment specialist, a coach, a consultant, a trainer, developer, an educator, a student, a mother, a sister, a friend. I'm every woman, y'all, and I'm excited to be on this show. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely excited to have you.
And on top of everything, yes, you're truly that. You'll get to learn a little bit more about Turqueya. But Turqueya is also a domestic violence conqueror. She's not a victim. She did more than survive. She's actually living. And for those who are just tuning in, if you don't know, that domestic violence, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men experience some form of physical violence by an intimate partner. This includes a range of behaviors like slapping, shoving, pushing, and in some cases might not be considered domestic violence. 1 in 7 women and 1 in 25 men have been injured by an intimate partner. So domestic violence is very serious, and this is the last Thursday closing it out. So we thank you, Turqueya, for being on. And we also want to give you an opportunity to share your story. Mm-hmm. It's on you.
Absolutely. It's on me. It's on me. Yep. All right. Well, listen, like Jay has pointed out so lovely, because love is what we're here to talk about. Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, domestic violence was a teacher, y'all. I think I was like most women. I didn't think about the yells, the pushes, the blatant disrupting furniture and stuff in front of me as incidents of domestic violence, because I didn't know what I didn't know. I grew up with pretty strong men, and I felt like, men had big personalities my whole life. So it actually took going through some things to know that, hey, domestic violence is a real thing. And there's legal laws out there to protect women and men against it. And I have to say, mine wasn't a one-time incident. I remember the first time it happened to me, and I'm going to first preface it and say me and this gentleman are actually good friends now today, because healing is an important thing when you're moving forward in your life. But I was at a party in college, and my partner jacked me up by the neck in a public setting. And I remember just being in a state of shock at first. Like, did that just happen to me? Because you never know how someone who loves you could put their hands on you or, touch you in a way that's unloving or unpleasing. And that was the first incident, unfortunately, of a few more incidents with that particular person. But what I learned is, when you don't understand a thing and you're a giver like me and you allow things to happen, then you kind of attract some of that same energy again. So I found myself at another phase in life with a softer person, overtly speaking, but he had I'm so removed from it, y'all, but I guess the summation of it is just anger management issues and a violent spirit. So when you have a violent spirit and you're a man of color who's struggling with so many injustices in life in general, I think every man, every woman tries to find an outlet. And unfortunately, in the domestic violence realm, it's usually your intimate partner. And so whether it's deceit, whether it's withholding funds, whether it's, like I said, breaking things to intimidate you without putting their hands on you, whether it's psychological mind games to make you think you're crazy, all of it is actually that realm of domestic violence. And there's actually laws, in particular in North Carolina, Virginia, Florida, Maryland, that protect you against these instances. And I thank God for the growth. I thank God for overcoming it. It was very progressive. I thought many a days I was insane. I had to learn what domestic violence was, to learn how to combat it, to then learn how to stand up to it, to then learn how to fight it back, to then learn how to overcome it, to then learn how to heal from it. Right. So it was a journey for me. And actually led me to my purpose. Like Jay said, I'm not a victim. I'm very much an overcomer, because for me, my life pains and my passions have fueled what I do as a service to others. All my coaching, consulting come from a space of love and expectancy, because I've been through and I've overcome so much with resiliency and faith and fortitude and grace. Took a lot of that. So that's kind of the surface of my story, but we could talk about, well, what does domestic violence look like? Because I'll tell you, even having to go before court systems, honestly, because I didn't have bruises, oftentimes it was very difficult to hold the person responsible. Because people often think of domestic violence as something you can see a battered woman, but you've got emotional, psychological, which still falls under domestic violence, as I mentioned. As Jay said, the intimate partnership violence, it first starts with isolation. I mean, there's a lot of mental health issues involved because you forget who you are, and then you start to wonder if it's you. And so you even isolate yourself, trying to figure out what you're going through, trying to hide the embarrassment, the pain, the frustration, the insecurities, all of that is real. And then your friends seem to shy away from you, but really you're pulling away from them too, because you don't recognize yourself anymore. Wow. And so that in itself is a journey. So that's what I mean when I say you have to educate, learn, stand up to fight, and then overcome, but then heal from, so that you can educate others.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I definitely appreciate it. Domestic violence is definitely something that we take very seriously, and violence, period, we don't condone. And it's very important to understand, yes, we had women on to share their story, and that's because statistics are only showing that 1 in 25 men are victims of being injured by domestic violence. And that's because men don't report it as much.
That's right.
So there's no true comparable data because it's a little skewed. And so, brothers, even though we have women on telling their stories, brothers, you too can be a victim of domestic violence. It doesn't mean you're less of a man. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean any of those things. One of the bravest things that you can do is come forth and share your story, because there are men who are suffering in silence as well. So we all got to help and uplift one another. We do have some guests on.
I have a lot of guests.
Okay, you go ahead and say who you got on.
So let's see here. We got Adrian is on. What's up, Adrian?
Hey, Adrian.
We got Mama Garnett is on.
Hey, Mom.
We got Rashia is on.
Hey, Rashia.
We got Ricky is on. What's up, Ricky, man?
Hey, brother Ricky.
We got Isaiah is on. Let's see, we got Rada is on. What's up, Rada? We got Miss Joy.
What's on Isaiah?
Yeah.
Rada?
Yes, Rada is on.
Oh, but she talking to Cheyenne. Oh, there she goes. She said it right there.
Yeah, so of course we got Cheyenne.
Hey, Cheyenne.
So we got Joey is on.
Hey, Joey.
We got Melissa is on. We have Jack Wilkerson.
Hey, what's going on?
And then we got B. Johnson is on, as well as some other folks that I can't see.
Yeah, guys, if you're on, go ahead and leave a comment so we can see that you are on. For some reason, Ricky picture didn't show at first, and Rashia's didn't. So now it's showing.
Yeah.
Now we got it. We got it now. We want to make sure that those things are showing. So a couple of things that have been going on in the world. The very first thing is, guys, next Tuesday is election day.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure that you guys are exercising your right to vote, making sure that you're being connected, doing your part, because we get to vote on Tuesday. Okay. I know we talked about early voting. It actually stopped on last Tuesday. Well, this Tuesday just passed.
Mm-hmm.
So but you do get another chance, another opportunity to vote, and that is November. What is that? 3rd. November the 3rd. So you definitely want to make sure that you guys go out there and vote. Another thing that we have for you guys in the topics is the other presidential candidates. So we want to make sure that you guys are fully aware that there are actually 4 presidential candidates that are running, and their names are listed in the topics as well. And then we are dealing with quite a few different issues. One is a question, but the other one didn't make it a question. In Nigeria, they're now having hearings for the first set of killings that happened at the protest, or the SARS protest in Nigeria. it is reported that about 56 people were killed in that protest. And so the hearings have begun for them. The judicial panel hearings have begun for them. I encourage you guys to read up on that, because guess what? We want to definitely make sure that we're well informed and understanding the things that are affecting our global brothers and sisters as well. Okay?
Global citizenship. That's it.
Yep. And then now, Turqueya, you're going to help us with these conversations, because we got some topics tonight.
All right. I'm ready. I was ready.
So the very first topic is, y'all, we done changed around the office, so I'm trying to get used to looking at the camera, and I'm so confused. I'm like, where am I going? Where am I going? But the first one is, will your friendships change depending on who wins the election? What you got?
Ladies first.
Oh, ladies first. Ladies first.
Will the friendships change? So I get to answer, gentlemen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I mean, when you said ladies, I know we had like 10 of them on the
chivalry over here.
joining us. You know what? I'm at that season in my life where 40 and fabulous also means honest and curt. And I don't think so for me. I am definitely a woman who wears my authentic self every day. And these conversations have been in play for over a year, as I'm sure in you all circles they have too. And I am pretty open about where I stand. And I am a global citizen. I stand for human rights. I stand for civil rights. I stand for not just equality, but equity, right? There's a difference. I want everybody to have a fair share, fair chance at everything. And I stand for morale and just love. And so anyone who rocks and vibes with those things, we're going to continue to synergize. And I have literally weeded down my circle just by being my authentic self over the last decade. So I don't really see it changing much.
we got some new people that came on. Brooke.
Hey, Brooke.
She came
Hi,
on.
Brooke.
We got Bruce.
What's up, Bruce? We also have Lauren Jones Palmer is on, aka Kim.
Hey, Kim. But he said, yep, because Trump supporters will be loud and proud. I'm a firm believer of you don't really lose friends. Now, you may lose the illusion of friends, the ones who have the illusion of friends, but I don't think you really lose friends. And I have found that people have unique reasons for doing certain things. And the assumption is a lot of times when a certain candidate wins, we believe that it is only because certain people may have voted in that direction, but that's an assumption.
Right.
And voting is private for a reason, but there are several different things. But one thing that I am most proud of is that this year we are doing record numbers at the polls. So a lot of people are voting. A lot of people are exercising their thing. So we have so many different people that are out there. And what I'm most proud of is that we have people that are really exercising their right to vote. And the numbers are phenomenal. And I'm definitely proud about that. I definitely don't think that I would lose any friends regardless of who is in office.
Right.
Because I welcome a difference of opinion. I also welcome people who know why they do the things that they do. And if you can articulate healthily why you're doing the certain things that you do, and you know your stance and it's with conviction, I don't have a problem with it. And friendships don't end. I don't end friendships. So Brooke said, why do we hate on Trump supporters? And if that's who they want to support, that's their viewpoint. Ricky also said, political differences won't make me lose friends. If I lose people, it's over moral issues and how they display their beliefs. And Kevin said, Trump would try to steal the election no matter the numbers. You was gonna say something about that? Oh,
the only thing I was gonna say as far as the topic goes is that I too agree that, or I'm of the stance that I'm not gonna lose any friends, or no matter who wins the election, because all of the friends, or I'm gonna say family, because as brother has said before, friends are just the family you choose. So my family already knows that, you know, one, I don't take a cheerleader approach when it comes to politics and politicians. They are just that, politicians, and they are going to do what is advantageous to them in their career. And so I don't have any endearing ties to any of them. But more so than that, all my family knows that, politics aside, the only time it's an issue for me is if the things that you believe in are in accordance with questioning my existence or my right to be, happy and damage free. When those things collide, then we have a problem. But as far as you believe what you believe in, supporting who you support, that's, everyone has their right and and the ability to support who they want to support. But if your beliefs or your person you support is of the mindset that my existence or my right to be is in question or somehow not my own, then we have a problem. So I don't think I'm gonna lose friends.
And I think that's right in line with what Brooke was saying. If I lose friends because of who I vote for, then we're not real friends. And my wife ain't even answering the question. Gonna talk about how my friend.
Hi,
Lita. And my friend Bruce said, support who you want, but it's about morals for me. The fact that his followers excuse his behavior when we all know if Obama did or said half of the things 45 did, the world would be against him. Rashid said, I'm with Turqueya. My friends all love each. She spelled your name right. I'm with
Turqueya. Did. I love it.
All my friends all love each other enough that this election won't change a thing. Although it does expose some beliefs of people I associate with.
Right.
Bruce said, call me what you want. You're not a friend of mine until we've been through something together. That's Mama said true, but I don't know what she's saying true to. And he said reveals character.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I wanted to just support what Brooke was saying, Jay, because I wanted to make it clear, since we are all on this platform, that we're not saying we're for or against anyone voting for their chosen party. But we stand for love, we stand for respect, we stand for unity, we stand for global citizenship. And all of us have to remember that voting is not the beginning and the end of the thing. You have to stand up all throughout the year as an advocate for yourself and the things you believe in, because that's how we all impact and shift change in society, but in our own households first. Right? You got to train up people how you want them to be. And as Jay knows, I love to say, we must teach people how to treat us.
Yeah,
so that is where it begins.
And everybody knows that we're a nonprofit, so we don't get into that at all anyway.
Yeah.
That's not even our angle, so they definitely know that. Brooke, water's in the cup, crazy. Mom said, to my political opinion, right. I still believe the power to create change lies in us, not the politicians. We are the change we're looking for. Kudos to Love's Parable for doing the change. Thank you,
right,
Diane.
I miss Diane. I used to collaborate with her in Wake County.
Oh, you know Diane?
I do.
She's amazing. Yep.
I agree.
As well. And Mom's talking about right, girl, and amen. Look at my mom. So right along with that, some people are saying like they're a little, depending on who wins, do you think that they need to be armed for Tuesday? How important is it to be armed by Tuesday?
Well,
it's a real concern.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's a concern for a while.
Hey, Shell. And as far as it to be armed, and I think that depending on where you live and what the demographics look like, because they are very different in different parts of the country, especially if you look at the electoral college and things like, which is really what decides at least the presidential side of things. The electoral college decides that, not the popular vote.
That's right.
So, depending on where you live in the demographics, I think, as far as being armed by Tuesday, I don't know about that, but sometimes I think, depending on where you live, or just being armed, period, because of the kind of clashes that are taking place in the streets and even things that we don't see in certain areas. I think it's just important to be armed in general. I don't know necessarily by Tuesday. I think just in general. And if that's really something that you want to do, it's important, period, not really by a specific time frame.
Huge concern at Academy Sports. The line is wrapped around the building for the department with guns. A tad nervous over here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's a real concern because we are living in times where it seems to be a heightened frustration across the board and a heightened anger across the board. And there's so many different variables that play into that. And I do think that I was one who ignorantly assumed that we could handle things without necessarily violence or with guns and things like that. But as I've grown older, I have changed my view on that and realized there is a need to understand how to effectively and properly protect oneself and family.
That's right.
So I do believe that it is very important for all people to really understand how to protect oneself. I think not only guns, but I also think that there should be some self-defense courses taken and things like that. And check this out. I also believe that we should also take anger management.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, Jay.
Because have pent up frustration that we're looking for an excuse to go off. Like there are some people who say, I wish somebody would say something to me today. Oh, so you're just looking for a reason to snap. Yeah, so I do think that we should take advantage of all different types of services of protection, and protecting one's mental health and emotional health is just as important as being physically protected as well.
That's right. I support that, gentlemen. I say stay ready, but just know, like you said, it's very exploratory for all of us. We're in a time where you really have to self-reflect and know what your own rants and upsets and lack of healing lead to, because that is definitely going to be the catalyst for a lot of the unnecessary violence. And so not just the anger management, but love education. You know, what they say, everybody's going through something. You know, we never know what that other person's going through in the context of what they're coming from. So share what you can in love, but be ready to protect those you love, right?
Bruce said your guns will not be taken from you.
Yeah, that's something that I want to address too, because that seems to be a popular, I don't want to call it a trick, but really it is. So there is a recurring cycle that happens relatively close to election times where certain politicians talk about, you know, the gun rights and the gun purchasing rights of citizens being in question, or like Bruce said, they would take your guns away from you. And every single time, there's no actual legislation passed, but the gun prices and price of ammunition spike.
That's right.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm saying that's the rhetoric that is used by politicians.
Gotcha.
And every time that happens, the prices of everything gun related, bullets, you know, any kind of modification, all that rises by a certain percentage, and it happens cyclically, you know. And it's very important that people recognize that it's a tactic that's used to really galvanize people and get their emotions up. So like you said, really just being reflective and thinking, okay, am I listening to what's being said? What are they actually saying?
That's right.
Is this just rhetoric, or is this actual legislation that's going to be passed? You know?
Right.
So, yeah.
And honestly, that's the fear factor with everything, right? Cordell and Jay, I mean, we just have to be self-controlled, you know, hear, pay attention, but learn for yourself, educate yourself, and then educate others, because media is always going to be the gatekeepers of our first awareness of knowledge. So then we have to decipher what we agree with, what we know to be true, fact versus truth, and then how do you move forward in that diffusion of it, because you're still going to combat social media that believes whatever the media is portraying.
Yeah. And we got a lot of comments on this one. If you're trained, if you're not trained to handle a firearm, it is honestly more dangerous for you to strap on Tuesday or any day for that matter. Michelle said that she's going to get a Beretta because she's experienced now. I saw that video, and you need to get a little bit more experience. Nice boots, though. Kim says sometimes call for violence in the form of protection. Now is that time. Now is the time. I'm sorry. And Sean over on YouTube land said, you are your own first responder. Who thinks of your family's safety is more important, you or the government? I don't know what that means. Is a great way to protect yourself.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
I don't know what that means, Sean.
I don't know what CRA is either.
I don't know what that means. And then Bruce said, I tell all of my brothers and sisters to get legally armed, study the law, and protect yourself and your people.
Exactly.
Cheyenne said early voting is still open until 3 p.m. this Saturday. Okay. Awesome. Thanks for that, Cheyenne.
Thank you.
And then she said, do y'all think psychological evaluation should be a part of buying guns? We're going to come to that.
Yep.
And then you said fear tactics. They're raising the price to answer what you said. The ammo, not the guns themselves. This time. Absolutely a few variables, but I think so. And then Kevin said, unfortunately, we live in a country where white supremacy is encouraged. Trump is offspring of what America always been and still is.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to hate. And this is my wheelhouse. Let's go. So I think the psychological exam should be associated with anybody that gets a gun. And I mean, I'm talking about police officers too. I think police officers actually should have a degree, and I think that they should have a psychological exam. And I do think that they should also go through anger management. And I think anytime that they go through a traumatic episode, I think that they need to get a psych eval again. So if they experience a robbery, they need to get a psych eval. If someone was killed on their watch, they need to get a psych eval. And I think that that needs to be repeatedly done to make sure that we have at least the people that are more prepared to handle what comes their way. So I do feel like those things need to happen. He said, Curly.
Problem of God. That's what.
Okay, what is that?
It's a self-defense style.
It's a military self-defense body system developed for Israel defense, some Israeli security, derived with a combination of techniques.
Yeah, I've seen stuff about it, and I know some people who actually practice it. I do also agree with Jay that psychological evaluation should definitely be required for purchasing guns. I think the reason that they aren't is because of worry about the bottom line. And it's crazy, not crazy, but it's interesting because there's a lot of other professions that don't involve any violence that require psychological evaluation at certain times. Doctors, pilots. These are all professions or careers.
The Senate.
Yeah.
They need to, because they too.
Yeah, at certain there's loads of numerous other professions that at certain times require that you get a psychological evaluation for various reasons. So it's at this point to me ridiculous that purchasing a firearm and or being a law enforcement officer, don't require this out the gate. And also, like Jay said, requiring a degree. Being a policeman in a lot of states is one of the only professions or careers that is still doesn't require any sort of formal or specialized training, not necessarily college, but any kind of training,
educational training.
It's not specialized at all. You go to the academy in 6 or 8 months, here you go, here's your gun, your taser, and your authority to do quite a few things that you have not been put through any specialized training to do. So, yeah.
And to that point, Cordell, I will say I was registered to carry a firearm in North Carolina. I now live in Virginia. I'm not registered here, but I find it interesting that you cannot have a criminal record or any criminal activities as a civilian, but police officers can, as long as they pass that academy training. So again, the reason why we all need to vote is because in our own states, there are many laws that are outdated and need some revisions, modifications, and annihilations, and it's not going to happen unless we get the right people representing us to make that change occur.
Right.
Look, and they still coming. Sorry, the comments are coming. I think the police should continuously be mentally evaluated.
Absolutely.
Leader said definitely a psychological evaluation for gun purchases. Bruce said after every kill, they need to ride the deaths for at least 15 to 30 days. Nothing about death is normal, and they shouldn't be allowed to just go back out of the field. I actually agree.
I agree wholeheartedly, bro.
The whole Congress is what I meant. All of it.
Yeah.
All of it is what I meant. Rashid said instead of defunding, I think we should reallocate those funds and make sure that those who were sworn to protect and serve are able to do so without being biased and mentally unstable. That's actually what defunding actually meant.
Right.
That's defunding means to reallocate and prioritize those funds to go in more effective ways. So that's exactly spot on with what it is. Bruce said standard military ROE should be taught to the local police here. What is ROE?
It sounds like rules of escalation or rules of engagement. Excuse me, rules of engagement. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go with that one.
Yeah.
We're in Virginia. Shane, how you gonna have a whole story? Look, she's like,
outside of Richmond, Cheyenne, we're close.
Look, Deanna come on talking about I agree. What you agree to, Deanna? Yeah, so that's actually good. So this goes into now, after what happened in Philly, how should we think through calling EMS, public safety, 911, when our loved ones are having a mental health issue?
Yeah, Bruce, that's what I remembered it after a second, but yeah.
Thank you, because I ain't gonna sit up here and lie to you, make it sound fly to you. Oh, before you do that, the basic training needs to have a mental evaluation done and rule of engagement taught during basic training. Yeah. Come on, Vanessa. Where you at, Vanessa?
Hey, Vanessa. More training, more specialized training for sure.
Rules of engagement. Look, yes.
Yeah.
What is the alternative to what?
Now, as far as the
psychological evaluation, probably.
Oh, she moved on to calling 911.
Oh.
Hey.
Yeah. So
we're in North Carolina too.
I was reading about the tragedy that happened in Philly about the mentally unstable man who was shot when he had the knife and he was approaching the police. And from what I read out there, and also some people that live in Philly were talking about this as well, that their mental health services in the Philadelphia area are woefully under-resourced. And a lot of the crisis centers out there turn people away. So certain people call 911 just to get assistance with their mentally ill family members or loved ones. And so I think that's really scary when you call what's supposed to be the specialized group of people that's supposed to protect you and actually help de-escalate situations, and their first or even second response is to shoot someone.
Yes.
They actually do what I think they're scared. Mm-hmm. Like when you're scared, you know how you like hit somebody. Like if somebody's scared you swing. Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of them, when they're scared, because they haven't been trained any other way, they get trigger happy just like anybody else.
And that is a very, 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 very bad and dangerous cycle because, like Bruce said, even soldiers have rules of engagement. And I am of the firm mindset that if you are that scared, if you are that scared, which that is also a reason for lethal force that we've seen, especially in use with Black people. I was scared for my life and this and that. And I think that there needs to be a reevaluation of the career path because, and like Jay said, the training is inadequate because there is multiple methods of de-escalation that can be used before lethal force. Now, I'm not saying that it's not normal to be scared, but we're talking about tasers. We're talking about, and mind you, this was two officers. This wasn't a one-on-one situation. These were two officers who both drew their guns and shot this man. And so I just think that, again, the training is inadequate. And I think that to the point of the topic, that it's a very scary situation, knowing that if you need help with a mentally ill loved one in a very dicey situation, that you question calling the law enforcement or the people that you pay to help protect you.
Because they're going to only escalate the matter, Cordell. Right. I have to say, so in my full-time role, Jay knows this, but I'm director of HR for a mental health organization. And so first aid mental health is a prerequisite for many things. And I'm honestly shocked that EMS, 911, police, civilians are not responsible for having that basic knowledge, kind of just like the psychoevaluation we're talking about. But how do you come onto a scene assuming everybody's equal? In their mental health status. And so we've got room to grow, as a people, as a nation. as a load. And I think it just comes back to first trying to understand before we want to be understood, right? It's just that human moral thing that we've got to get back to, because everybody's going through something. No two people are the same. Right. And there's different methodologies you can employ based on the situation.
Yeah. Sean, thank you for your service, is an ex-Marine, and he said what's crazy is I had a better understanding of escalation of force at 19 in the Marines than most police. And I would add to that, even in mental health, they give you crisis prevention, intervention training as well. So it's like, I think something should be there. Nichelle said, oh, nobody cares, Nichelle. Truthfully, their training should never end. I agree with Bruce 1,000% with that. And I'm sure just because something works doesn't mean it can't be improved. Exactly. I agree 1,000,000,000% with you. You about to be my favorite guest on here. And then Ricky said, I have a friend with a special needs child. The whole police department for their town received training when the child was placed with them. So when they show up to their house, guns aren't an option. That's the way it should be. Yeah. Lapita say, if you scared to go to
church.
If you scared enough to kill, wrong job.
I agree with that.
Like 14 times. Yeah. And being a cop is a hard, dangerous, unsafe job, but it's also something they sign up for. Do your job correctly. I agree. And what it is that people who have untreated mental illnesses are 16 times more likely to be killed than anybody else. And majority of those are people of color, which is the part that they don't realize. And already there's ongoing disputes and ongoing battles about this across the globe, where Black men who suffer from mental illnesses are killed at a higher rate than any other demographic. Right. Even when they talk about incarcerations, even though the number of arrests have gone down, statistics still show that people of color serve more time than their white counterpart for the exact or similar offenses. So there is this constant thing, and I think that implicit bias trainings should continuously happen. And I think that it is a dangerous assumption that implicit bias is only associated with racism. There are several different forms of implicit bias that we can have that can cause us to make unsafe and dangerous choices that will put our lives and other people's lives in danger and may even cause fatalities. So these are things that we need to constantly make sure that we are paying attention to and being well informed on. Joey said mental health professionals have to take several of the same mental health response skills based training annually to keep certifications and licensures. Emergency services should do the same. And now that I'm back in mental health, she ain't never lied. I'm in so many trainings. Yeah, I'm in trainers on top of trainers on top of trainers.
It's crazy. It's really weird because, and really dangerous because in these situations, police officers are absolved of so much accountability when they say, well, I was scared. So all the training that all the training that you do have, and then even the training that you're supposed to have, all that goes out the window when you're scared. And then it's just, okay, well, it's a dangerous job. They're scared. And it's like, wait a minute. Nobody else can do that. If I don't perform at my job and say, hey, I was scared, or this is hard, or this or that, the manager's going to look at me like, so?
The other part to this, I can't say that. Is it Semper
Fi? Rick Owen was in the Marines too. So
okay. I didn't know you was in the Marines. This changes everything, Rick. This changes everything. Okay, escalation of force and PID, positive identification. Oh, look at my niece done came on.
Hey, Triple OG.
Classism, ableism.
Yeah.
All of that.
I forgot what I was going to say.
No, I was saying that the officers are seemingly resolved of a lot of accountability when they say that they're scared. we're talking about the training that everyone else seems to get when it comes to dealing with mental health and mental health patients
and mental illness in general.
I don't know what I was going to say about that, but I think that what's more alarming to me is that we allow certain people in certain capacities. I know exactly what I was going to say. Certain people in certain capacities assume that their position equates to a level of authority, almost deity. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, people who become cops are the ones, I'm sorry, that were picked on or were bullied, and this is their opportunity to get back. So I think in addition to doing a mental or psychological evaluation, I think that they do need to have referrals from their community. Because a lot of them will target certain people, because that's one of the things that came up with the Floyd case as well, that he knew him in another setting, in another area. And a lot of people do get back at people. I had a frat brother who pulled a gun on me, and that same frat brother became a cop, but that same frat brother also had issues. And he used that as a way to exercise authority. The same thing happens, if in several positions of leadership. They become the CEOs of companies. A lot of them become pastors of organizations, and they feel like this is my chance to get back and reclaim that fame. And unfortunately, I think that there needs to be some type of bias training, but some type of background investigation that are done with people who are in influential positions of authority. I just feel like those things need to be taken into account as well. Them pale boys in blue ain't nothing but a pack of...
Oh no. Well, let me say this, y'all. I have family who served in law enforcement. I have great friends who have amazing partners who've been in law enforcement, and friends too. And so I just want to say I'm thankful, right, for those who do their jobs well. And I know this is a topic of concern for society. So I am personally not here, and I know Love of a Parable is not here to say that all cops are bad cops. I just have to put that out there because I know people are listening and misinterpret and misconstrue what we're saying. But to be frank, we all have room to grow, right? When you have mental illness, you've got processes that you work through, and we have ISP and support systems to help them get to where they're going. So I think this platform is simply saying we've got some gaps in education for those who are called to protect us, because it seems that we're harmed by them more than protected, right?
We did a whole thing on the All Lives Matter thing. In fact, we go over that in our implicit bias training. We can address issues without saying it all.
That's right.
We do a whole training on that. So yes, and the funny thing is, the one thing I do like about our viewers who constantly, they're our family. And if anybody ever make a false accusation, usually it's handled in the comments before we even get a chance to see it. These
it's going so fast. Look, I can't read and participate.
Bruce said, now imagine, if you will, this trained officer being scared, but they expect regular civilians to remain calm in those same situations. Oh, he preaching now.
Yep, and that's talked about. It's like, you want me to remain calm, but you're the one with the gun and the power. But I have to be the calm one.
And you somebody get down on the ground. I don't even know what the ground is at this point, sir.
That's right. That's right.
Psychological and psychiatric evaluation should be required every few months for emergency personnel, just like mental health staff have to do with the clients. Rashid said also drug screenings. I'm not saying, but I'm saying that I know some are using steroids, and we know what steroids in combination with testosterone, rage, for no real reason.
Roid rage,
You're talking good. But I think that it is time, and it's somebody who just made the news. I can't remember what country. They were like, we're just gonna start over with the Constitution.
Chile.
Got rid
of the whole Constitution.
I just want to be a friend of chili.
Yep.
Can we need to start over with some things? Be like, just throw it over like it's the bad pancake and start over. But I definitely think that there is an opportunity for us, if you are in areas of influence, if you're in areas of direct community, I think that there need to be stricter laws. But equally, I do think, here's the funny thing when I think about it, I think that in order to get the best of the best, I do think that they need to be compensated well. Just like I think teachers need to be compensated well.
Yeah.
Teachers are the foundation for everything that we do, but the lowest paid.
Yep.
I'm like, man.
Yeah, teachers should have doctor pay.
Really. Right. Because they teaching the doctors.
Right. Yeah. They're molding the minds of, well, depending on which age group, they're molding the minds of countless generations. So why not should they be, and that's for, they, in some ways they have, they're like, they're like, not daycares, but yeah. And I think the people of the Congress, I think that there needs to be a definitely evaluation that is done, because it is just known after a certain age that there is a degeneration of mental capacity in some type of regard. And you got people that are making key decisions, and we're a republic that are representing certain areas. I think that we need to be more strict on things that represent the republic. I'm just big on that. I think that's what we're going to do. We're a republic. I think we need to act like one. Yeah.
So it's hard out here for a teacher. I know.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I won't be one. Yeah. I looked at that and they told me I had to be there like 16 years. Man, they better go sit down somewhere.
Quite a few teachers on my timeline, and they are very candid about the things that, at least the ones on my timeline, are very candid about the struggles of their career and why some have chosen to leave or take a break from that career path. And I don't blame them. I don't.
Now we got time for one more. Just one more.
Let's do it.
Why does it appear that men are automatically loyal to their boys, but their women don't get the same degree of loyalty? Why you act like that, Cordell? Cordell.
I don't know what topic.
So Cordell.
I'm just gonna say about for here in the U.S. and Western society. I mean, one of the most obvious things is the way they're socialized. Women are less than. That's one of the ways that men are socialized in this country. That women are less than. So they're automatically not deserving of certain things that should be granted to just people to people in general, human beings in general. So that is one of the reasons why I think that loyalty doesn't extend to women, and especially ones that they're romantically involved with, is because the way we're socialized is that, women are what you're call less than second-class citizens or beneath us, whatever you want, however you want to say it. I think that is one of the more obvious reasons for that. And it's definitely not right. But yeah, that's the first thing I got at least.
I will add, first of all, I'm an anomaly. I'm an anomaly because for several different reasons. It took me a long time to trust dudes. I was molested at 11, so I didn't want to be around no dudes, period. So that's why brother empowerment and all of this is so funny to me that I'm doing this. But I will say it probably is because women, for the most part, are consistent. And when you're consistent and it's a standard, the value lessens. And I think because it is known that women are more ride or die, that a lot of times they stay. They will stay. And so I don't think that the appreciation is there because it turns into an assumption of appreciation. And so it's not the same degree of loyalty as much as it has become the standard. So they're like, well, she's going to be there. She's going to be loyal anyway. It ain't going to change. But I think the perceived loyalty and the degree or the admiration of the loyalty seem like it's so different because it may be a rarity of that amount of loyalty coming from what they call, this is actually called homosociality. And it is known that those type of relationships are healthy to have, but it also is rare for a lot of men to actually have truly healthy same-sex friendships that truly are reciprocal. And so when it happens, there's a perceived heightened of loyalty, but really sometimes it's just shock. Like, oh, you ain't trying to backstab me? You ain't trying to do all of that? So
that's those special bromances y'all be having. No, it's a real thing. Look it up.
Yeah, that's actually that's homosociality. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Look, it's way up here. Bruce say he work in produce now, and he get paid more than people who are literally risking their lives every day. I don't know now. You might get salmonella in that produce. So it's important. Look,
I don't. Who is that? Who is that? I don't know who that is.
Kim's told her to stop it.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is brother empowerment, Nisi. Bruce said it could be because of low self-esteem. Oh, said come on and teach the people. Oh, I'll look at it.
Yeah, you left a second there.
Women have to hold ourselves accountable too. Men do what we allow them to do. Sometimes you just have to walk away. Mob mentality. Woo. Stand when you need to go. Thank you, Kim. But I don't think it's an accountability issue as much as it is a reciprocal issue. So a lot of times we're saying that people should leave when they don't really express. Like a good example, my wife knows that I'm loyal to her, but the longer we're together, and we talked about this before, my compliments for her do lessen because it turns into, well, you my husband, you're supposed to say that. Even though I'm 100% honest, like, no, if it look horrible, I'm gonna tell you. If it look great, I'm gonna tell you. But it is over time. And that the same thing happens whenever you're in relationships with anybody. Over time, it seemed like the impact of that lessens in those weird anomalies that come in. We pay attention to because it's an anomaly. The truth of the matter is, if we really learn reciprocal relationships, express our expectations and not assume them, accountability would not be something that is forced, but something that is globally experienced. Because accountability deals with taking ownership. So you can never really hold somebody accountable because it's something they must do. Now you can make them responsible because that's giving them duties and saying, no, these are your responsibilities, but accountability, they have to take ownership of it themselves. So when you get into reciprocal relationships, that's both parties being accountable to themselves. Right. And that's how we learn more about it. And then our network will be the same way. Like our network will say, that's an unhealthy relationship that you're in. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is domestic violence in any form.
That's right.
It doesn't necessarily mean that the person is intentionally evil or intentionally mean. It doesn't mean that we are being connected to people that are not resourceful and good. What it means is that you could be in an unhealthy relationship because it's not reciprocal or it's unbalanced.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then above and beyond that, unreciprocated imbalance is it something that's coachable and teachable, Jay and Cordell? Because you can meet people and, sometimes we're students, sometimes we're teachers, and that's that balance that makes it work. But you have to ask yourself, is it a possibility to be coachable and teachable? And the interest in the will has to be there first. And I just have to speak on myself because I've recently undergone that. And you get to a space and you say, well, do I move forward, or is that leader in me able to impart something in someone to leave them better than before we met? And I just always say, when that intuition inside of us speaks up, when that self-worth is calling, then that's when kind of what you need to do. But I personally enjoy the journey of walking through experiences when I can learn something from someone and then teach them at the same time.
I definitely agree. Yeah. And I think we need to end that. Being real don't mean you have to be nasty.
Yes.
That's right.
Or negative. Like keeping it real doesn't have to be a negative thing, and it doesn't have to be an evil or malicious thing. We have weaponized truth so much that a lie is considered like a gift. And so you have some people who lie so much
Yes.
because they want to spare your feelings. And then all of a sudden, as soon as you tick them off, they're like, oh, you want to know the truth? You can't do the truth. I'm going to give you the truth. I'm going to really hurt your feelings. Why, if we're in a reciprocal relationship, why would the truth hurt me? And why would you withhold truth from me and wait to hurt me, but you say that we're friends?
Right.
You say that we're in a relationship. You say that you have my back, and you really don't. And then you say one of the weakest lies ever. I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Right. Yes, you did. You wanted to hurt my feelings when I pissed you off.
Yep.
Right. When it was beneficial. But that's that immaturity. Yeah. Yeah. So you got to meet people who are either on your level or can level up with you for sure.
Yeah. No, Michelle, we want to talk about you.
Yeah, no.
I was speaking on my own experiences in the past when I said Stan. No, I was adding that to what Rashia's, the statement still went kind of the same with Rashia's statement. And then yes and no, Bruce said, depending on your age and ability to receive constructive criticism, some people will never change, recognize that, and walk away.
I duly noted there too. I've definitely been there.
Has to be an honest thing. Whew. That hour went by fast, Turqueya. Now
it did.
Look, 6 minutes ago was the time that we do Positive Brother shout out.
We behind.
You recognize brothers that are making positive strides, whether locally, in your community directly, impact or that you know of from afar, that may not get the recognition that they deserve. Who you got, Turqueya?
Who I got that makes a positive impact? Well, you know, I got to give a shout out to my baby brother running his mental health business here, Mr. Malcolm Moody.
I'm going to move to Virginia and work for him too.
He is doing his thing. You know, we talked about mental health on this show. We talked about injustices, and I will say he truly is a brother who saw these things in his own upbringing and knew something was wrong. And so that pain is what fueled his vision for the work that we do. And I just feel blessed to be a part of it. So that's a shout out. I give a shout out to every father, every brother, Cordell, Jay, who stand alongside their families in the forefront, because we know there are too many families who are missing the men who can't lead them. Oh, there's so many. There's so many. I just want to overgeneralize now and say, if you're doing it, if you're trying, if you're making an impact, I salute you.
Look, safe answer. Good job. Who you got, bro?
So first and foremost, always got to shout out my brother Jay. You know, definitely every week we're here doing this thing. He's here just taking people's heads off with the knowledge that he drops and everything. So he is snatching wigs and whatever else.
You didn't hear me. I gave that shout out already to you and Jay. Did y'all miss it?
This is time to give shout out.
It's my time. It's my time.
She's gonna take it back. Yeah. Give me that.
This is my time. So that is a first.
Right. Like, no, sir.
I already did that. You got to no duplicates over here.
Ladies first.
Like, take that.
But no, I definitely got to always shout out my brother Jay first, just because we've been doing this here. This will be year number 3.
2.
Wow.
I'm getting ahead of myself. So
3 for love is a parable,
right,
2 for brother empowerment.
So yeah, this is year number 2 that will, in a couple weeks, this will be year number 2. And so
November 28th.
Yes, the 28th. So I knew it was some 8. I was like 8, 18, or 28. There we go. So, but no, we've been here doing this thing for 2 years, and he actually tagged me and a whole bunch of other people in the first ever brother empowerment a couple of days ago, and we've come a long way. Not just from the subject matter, but just us physically. We've come a long way.
Well, I was always handsome, but I'm handsomer. So I'm extra large handsome.
So shout out to my brother Jay, just because this has been a journey, and we just keep going and we keep really just breaking barriers and breaking new ground. So I definitely got to shout out my brother Jay. I also next one to definitely shout out all the brothers that are on the live with us today. Rick, Owen, Bruce
Leroy,
Sean, all those guys that are on the live with us today. And if I missed your name, please excuse me. But all those brothers that came on and were here with us sharing their input, I definitely love y'all, and I definitely love the support that you guys are giving us, because we need that, because we're all in this together. And so last but not least, I definitely want to shout out to the brothers that are picking up those unfinished projects that have been there in their lives and are taking the time to finish them, whether that be the tough conversations, whether that be releasing the problematic connections, or that just be doing something else that really puts them in a positive space. I just want to shout out those that are doing it, because not only am I doing that, but I know that there are other brothers that are doing that and they don't get the chance to voice or be around other brothers who are doing that, so they don't feel they're not supported. So I just want to shout out those brothers, because they need to know they are supported and that there are other brothers like them who can offer them support, even if they're not physically with them or even in the same area. So yeah, so there.
And I would like to say thank you, bro. Nichelle, your locks are medium. Nah. But no, seriously, bro. Bro, man, me and bro be having some deep conversations, and this joke will be dropping gems, and I'd be like, sir, can you post that? Because if you don't post it, I'm going to post it. And I may or may not give you credit for it, but I usually try to give him credit for it. I just thank the Heavenly Father and the Creator for just connecting me to so many amazing men where, like, this is totally different than how I thought my life would be. Like, it's a lot of positive men that are doing things, that are doing great things. Like I told you, Cordell came into my life. Ricky, thank you for coming into my life. Sean took the implicit bias workshop, and we literally became friends during and after the implicit bias workshop. We talk every day, every single day. He had the flu, and we were still talking. But yeah, that is my brother. Bruce, Leroy, thank you for coming on and doing your thing. Rick, you guys, thank y'all for coming on. We need to check on Sean Stewart. I ain't seen him in a minute. But all of them, and Keon, I mean, the list goes on and on. Uncle Marcus. It's just a lot of amazing men that are doing great things. And brothers, we salute you and we thank you. Of course, all of my brothers that I have, from Daryl Vincent, Rodney, Tremel, Mike, Junior, Brian, and Jacob. I appreciate you, and my god brother Alex. You guys are doing phenomenal things, and it's a pleasure to know you. It's a pleasure to call you family. It's a pleasure to be around you, and it's a pleasure to really look at my timeline and I see all of you guys who are doing great things. Jonathan doing great things in the DMV. It's like the list goes on and on. But guys, thank you for tuning in.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for all of your support and continuously following us every Thursday. We really do appreciate you, and we appreciate this enriching conversation. But like we tell you guys every week, if you feel that there's nobody in this world that care about you or love you, you just met 3 people who truly do. Connect with us. If you can, you see all of our information there below. And we'll see you guys next week, which will be my birthday, so bring a gift to Chris. All right, guys. See y'all later.
All right, love